Take two, man. Yo, what's good people? It's that Dutchavelli and I'm back with another video, man. This video is a banger, trust me. Like, this is something that a lot of people are going to benefit from, whether you have waves or you don't. Trust me, this is going to help you. Especially my wavers though, because in the wave community, I'm going to be honest, 75% of people have no idea what they're talking about. Stupid. And they're using all the wrong terms, saying all the wrong things. So I'm about to put you guys on, man. So today we're going to talk about the difference between your hair texture and your hair type or your curl pattern, all right? They are two different things. And we're going to talk about the difference between them and how to figure out what yours is, okay? So make sure you smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. It's somewhere, click it. And make sure you click the bell as well to make sure you get notified every time I drop a video, all right? So let's get straight into this, man. You know. Let's go.
If you knew what I do for a decent house and a plate of food, better pay, don't make the news. That's right.
Okay, man, so I told you guys this video is going to be all about figuring out what the difference is between hair texture and hair type or curl pattern, and then figuring out what yours is, all right? Now, further to that, there are other things that are going to determine the characteristics of your hair and how you should look after it. Those two things are hair density and hair porosity, all right? So I'm going to make a completely separate video covering those two areas. When I made it, I'm going to put a card in the top right, and there'll be a link in the description below. It will be in the Wave 101 playlist as well, so make sure you check out the playlist if you haven't already. But let's get straight into this video, man. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is hair texture, all right? Now, hair texture is very commonly confused with hair type or curl pattern. They are not the same thing, they're completely different, and it's probably not what you think it is, all right? So hair texture is actually the thickness of an individual strand of hair on your head. That's what hair texture is, okay? So how do you figure out what your hair texture is and what are the different types of hair texture? So to figure out what your hair texture is, you're gonna need to take a hair off your head, all right? So here's a video of me doing that. I'm pulled the hair out of my head, and you're gonna do one of two tests. The first test that you're gonna do is you're going to rub that strand of hair between your finger and compare that to a thread, like a needle and thread, all right? If it's thinner than the thread, then you have fine hair, all right? If it's about the same, then you have medium or normal texture hair. And if it's thicker than the thread, then you have coarse hair, all right? Which is quite thick hair. Now, the second test is holding it up to the light, all right? So when you hold it up to the light, if you can barely see the hair, then you have fine hair. If you can kind of see it, it's visible, you have medium hair. And if it's very obvious and is very well defined, then you have coarse hair, okay? So those are the different types, and that's how you figure out which one is yours. So how does that change things? Well, if you have fine hair, then for the most part, your hair is going to be weak and quite susceptible to breakage, all right? Now, when we talk about this, remember, no one is a specific thing, bang, straight, slap bang in the middle. It's all a spectrum, all right? So you're going to be somewhere along that spectrum. But in general, fine hair is weaker, more susceptible to breakage. So you want to use lighter products on your hair. You don't want anything too heavy, and at the same time you want to make sure you're regularly deep conditioning your hair so that you can keep that nourishment and keep that strength in your hair, all right? So that's for fine hair. For medium hair, I have medium hair, so you can use a little bit more heavier products like your butters, your oils, your creams, say like castor oil for example, but use them in moderation. Right, use them in moderation. So me personally, I don't use too much products when I put it in my hair. I tend to stick to the lighter oils. Occasionally I'll use castor oil, but I don't use that too frequently because it's quite heavy. And then with coarse hair, that's the strongest type of hair, right? Coarse hair is really strong. It's very resistant to damage. You can do pretty much anything to that, but obviously you still want to make sure you look after it. But you can use the heavier products, heavier oils. You can use all of that and there's no problem, all right? So now for my wavers, if you have fine hair, you want to stay away from hard brushes. Do not use a hard brush if you have fine hair or you're going to rip it out. If you have medium hair, I do most of my work, my brush work, with a medium hard brush. I only use hard when I'm doing my washes when I've been wolfing for a while, but medium hard is going to be where you want to stick at. And if you have coarse hair, you can use any type of brush, all right? Simple. So that's hair texture, all right? Do not mistake that with hair type or curl pattern, all right? So what is hair type? Hair type is the amount of curl that you have in your hair, which is why I like to call it curl pattern, all right? So it's the amount of curl that you have in your hair. Now, in general, there are 4 main types, all right? And they go up in numbers. They go up from 1 through to 4. And then within those types, you have subtypes, which go from A to C, all right? Now, the subtypes just describe how curly the hair is within that category, all right? So A is the least and C is the most within that category. So the first category is type 1, and that is straight, bone dead straight, okay? Quite a lot of sheen, quite resistant to damage, quite hard to damage as well, but it is almost impossible to curl it. It's almost impossible to curl it. So that's type 1 straight hair. Type 2 hair is wavy hair. So wavy hair generally has quite large, loose S-shaped curls, all right? They're easy to change the style, so you can make them a bit straighter, make them a bit curlier. It's quite easy to do that. And at the same time, they're quite susceptible to frizz, all right? They can frizz up quite easily. So you need to be careful with that if you have wavy hair, all right? But that's wavy, okay? That's type 2. Now type 3 is coily hair. Some people like to call it curly. For me, that don't make no sense because all the hair we're talking about is curly right here. So that don't make no sense to me. So I call it coily hair. Now coily hair has quite well-defined curls, tight S-shaped curls that kind of look like a spring when you see them, all right? Now, in terms of heat and moisture, frizzes up really easily. So be careful with that. And then the last type is kinky hair. Type 4, kinky hair, man. That's me, you know what I'm saying? I'm a type 4, boy. So with type 4 kinky hair, they're very, very tight. They're the tightest curls. They're either S or Z shaped, depending on where you are in the A to C range. Some of people are gonna say there's D as well, you know, D's like, it's just random, like they ain't even know S or Z, it's just a bit random. But hey, we're not gonna get into the technicalities, all right? At the end of the day, type 4, kinky, man. Now, it can be quite susceptible to breakage, and you know, it's harder to manage at longer lengths, so you're gonna need to take much more care of it. And do not use harsh chemicals on type 4 hair, man. You're gonna mess up your hair. So you wanna look after it. Look after it, man. Give it that tender love and care, that TLC, you know what I mean? But yeah, those are the 4 types, man. How to figure out what your hair type is. There is a chart. I'm gonna put the chart on the screen right here, all right? And in this chart, you're gonna see loads of different types and different curl patterns, all right? So compare your hair at the roots. You want to take your hair and you want to compare it at the root to see which of those is closest to. And also just look at, you know, when I was talking about each type, I had pictures up. Look at those pictures and decide which one of those your hair is closest to, and that's going to help you. So rewind the video if you need to go figure out which one your hair is closest to, and that's how you figure it out, man. Simple. So taking it all the way back to the waves. Now I know in the previous video I said this. So there are 3 main types, okay? You have straight hair, medium, and what people call coarse, or what I will refer to as kinky. Now you're probably looking at me, you're probably thinking,
why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god.
But bro, you just said there were 4 types and the one you said there was 3, like real talk, bro.
and you know what? I ain't even mad at you.
Let me explain why.
Let me explain. So you know, in GCSE, yeah, if you did like science GCSE, you learned all this stuff, it was all cool. Now if you did A level, yeah, they basically told you all that stuff you learned, yeah, forget it. Forget it. On some Men in Black shit.
Sorry.
So that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing right now. I'm about to tell you the reals, the complex stuff, you know, about to get into the real stuff, get deeper, get deeper, deeper, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna need you to do is clear your mind for a minute. I said 4 in this video and 3 in the previous one. The reason why I only had 3 in the previous one is because when it comes to waves, what are waves? Waves are laid down curls. You cannot get waves if you have type 1 straight hair. You can't. I'm sorry, it's impossible. I can't help you, man. I can't help you. So that leaves 3 types, all right? Oh, the numbers are adding up now, okay? Now, in terms of what those 3 types are called, In the previous video, I wanted to make sure that if you watch that video, you're able to reference other videos in the wave community based on what I've told you. So in general, the wave community has those 3 types: straight, medium, and coarse. But on this channel, we are going to call those 3 types wavy, medium or coily, and kinky, all right? That's what those 3 types really are. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have curl in your hair, you can't get wave. So when people say straight hair waver, really they have wavy hair. They have type 2 wavy hair. They don't have straight hair type 1, all right? So from here on out, if you see another video with another waver talking about straight hair waves, he's really talking about wavy type 2 hair, all right? So we calling that wavy. If you see another waver talking about medium hair, he's really talking about type 3 coily hair. I'll call that coily. And then if you hear a waver talking about coarse hair, he's really talking about type 4 kinky hair. We're gonna call that kinky, all right? So now you know what your hair texture is, and you also know what your hair type and your curl pattern is, all right? I've given you some of the characteristics. I've told you some of the ways that you can manage that. So I'm gonna do in the next video, for my wavers, I'm gonna break down all the different types of brushes, what brushes you should use depending on your hair type and your hair texture, and also how you should brush to get all the different 4 types of waves, man. I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm going to talk about hair density and hair porosity. So for the people who don't have waves, who just want to learn more about their natural hair, that video is coming. Like I said, there'll be a card link in the description when I've done it. But yeah, that's it for this video, man. And I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. It's been that G-Tail D, wave to the world, and I'm out.